by Richard R. Moore. In the United States, there are 13 doctors named Doctor, or Doctor. I made this important discovery while going through the American Medical Directory, published by the American Medical Association. The huge 25th edition has 3,686 pages, with 5 columns to a page in very small type. There is much fascinating information, such as a list of scientific medical societies and a list of foreign medical schools. But it is the names of doctors that keep me enthralled. I can hardly put the book down. In fact, I can hardly pick it up. I envy the patience of those 13 doctors named Doctor or some variant thereof. Imagine calling up the office and asking, "Is Doctor in?" I have not been through a list of nurses, but it would be an extra thrill if Doctor's nurse were named Nurse. And she replied, "This is Doctor's nurse. I am sorry, but Doctor is out." There might be a little confusion if there were also a doctor named Out. But there isn't. Though there is one named Outlaw. If you have a cold, however, you can go to a doctor named Cough, though you might prefer Dr. Achoo. On the other hand, if you have a fractured leg, you might go to see Dr. Bone. There are 17 bones along with 5 bone breaks and a bone cutter. I hate to tell you that there is also a boner, who just happens to be a psychiatrist. Unfortunately, there aren't nearly enough lances for all the boils, and while we are pairing them off, let me point out that there is a doctor named Brain, and one named Brawn. The 7 fast is as against 1 loose, and 9 named Top, or the 2 bottom. As you might expect, with doctors' bills being what they are, and there are 24 doctors named Bill, Bills, or Biller, 11 named Fee, and 27 named Cash or Cash. There are far more doctors named Rich or Riche than Poor or Poor, and 49 are named Christian as compared with 10 named Pagan. But the real disparity is between doctors named Young and those named Old. And get this, those named More, or More. And the 3 poor fellows named Lease. Oddly enough, there are more negatives than positives. 6 doctors named Nay and 16 named Nix as compared with 15 named Yeah and Yeah. I regret to say that there are 85 pains, not to mention 11 pangs. There are also 23 doctors named Ache, Acre, and Akin. But is this any wonder when you have doctors with such names as Blood, Blotty, Blunts, Borer, Cutter, named Hurt? I shudder. Carver and Fing and 29 named Hertz. I shudder to report that 18 are named Butcher. Some doctors, if they live up to their names, might have questionable bedside manners. Take, for instance, Dr. Rude, or the 29 doctors named Bull, or the 3 who will always leave their little black bags behind them that the doctors forget. There used to be a doctor, remember, but I don't recall what happened to him. There is the talkative Gabby, and even more garrulous Gas. If Dr. Fuss bothers you, you might try Dr. Brief, who isn't one to stay around chatting, but is soon on his way to the next patient, along with Dr. Going, Dr. Goforth, and Dr. Goodnight. One doctor you may have a little trouble understanding is named Mutter. Doctors come in all sizes and shapes, from tall to runty. Perhaps because doctors eat well, there is no Dr. Hunger and no Thin, though there are 2 fatters. And 2 are limber, one is limp and one is limper. If their names are a clue, doctors come in all temperaments and dispositions. 1 is tender, 2 are ready, 82 are wise, and 4 are wiser, 5 indeed are wisdom. 2 are wary, however, still another is peppy. 2 contrasting types are can and can't. There is 1 imp, 5 are wry, 3 are blights, 6, I am sorry to say, are rotters. 1 is gripe and another gripe. An interesting group, probably many of them psychiatrists, includes Doctors Batt, Stapp, and the rather advanced Alnuts and Dement. The parts of the body are, as you might imagine, well represented. Consider doctors named head, foot, finger, leg, or leg, eye, and tongue. I looked in vain for a stomach or a tummy, but did manage to find some colons. There is an organ but no transplants, and 96 doctors are named Ray, but not one of them is X. Ray, that 7 doctors named Stork are, I hope, obstetricians are, and likewise Dr. Cutbirth, who may specialize in cesareans. In this connection, I note with great surprise only 1 Dr. Twin, but 11 Dr. Triplets. Appropriately named, it seems to me, are swab, dresser, dispensa, balm, patch, fix, chart, and most certainly medic. But I wonder a bit about the 5 doctors named lawyer. Perhaps they are concerned about malpractice suits and wish to handle them themselves. In view of the hazard of carrying a disease from one patient to another, I was somewhat concerned to find 9 doctors named Carrier. Let us hope they wash their hands thoroughly with a powerful disinfectant. What is a woman going to think of when she is asked to disrobe by Dr. Ogle? Believe it or not, there is a doctor named Apathy. But there are also 2 doctors named Bong, who might really ring the bell, or the doctor named Bedwell. I would expect you to be up about in no time. While you might have some reservations about going to a doctor named Fooey, you should know that there are others with such attractive names as Bliss, Blessing, Darling, Friendly, Marvel, and even Angel. You might feel better the minute you met any of the several doctors, Good Fellow, Good Friend, Good Heart, or Good Hope. Nor should we overlook Adorable, Affable, and All Good. These, you must admit, sound more helpful than Di, Croaker, and Deadman. Sugar is Not So Sweet by Edward Edelson. Scientists are discovering that our love for sugar may be as bad for the heart and the general health as it is for our teeth. When Americans worry about their diets, they usually fret most about fats and what it might be doing to their hearts and arteries. Some nutritionists, physicians, and research scientists now say it's time to worry also about the other thing we eat so much of, refined sugar. The researchers, who make up a kind of informal scientific subgroup, believe that sugar should start shouldering its share of the blame not only for America's rotten teeth, but for its excess weight, and most significant, its high rate of heart disease. Scientists have been eyeing the possible disadvantages of sugar for at least a decade, but their research hasn't captured much attention for a variety of reasons. One of the most important is the buildup of evidence implicating cholesterol and heart disease has been so rapid and overwhelming. In contrast, the case against sugar is only about as far advanced today as the case against fat was 15 or so years ago. At the moment, suspicion about sugar is based largely on limited laboratory experiments and some tantalizing statistics among a few small special human populations. Not only that, but the sugar question appears to be at least as complicated as the fat problem. The most recent research indicates that sugar alone in small amounts is not much of a villain. It is large amounts of sugar, particularly if 1 or 2 confederates are conspiring with it, such as a sedentary life, an inherited inability to handle sugar in large amounts and possible stress, that may rob a man of his health. Mostly scientists worry about the sheer amounts of sugar we eat. If you are a typical American adult, you ate about 185 pounds of meat last year. You also consume more than 100 pounds of sugar in coffee, soft drinks, desserts, syrups, sweetened fruits, and so on. And while meat is half water, sugar contains no water at all. So although we eat less sugar than meat, in terms of pure food energy, the average American gets nearly as many of his calories from sugar as he does from meat. Judged by any past era, the American diet is grotesquely overloaded with refined sugar. In fact, 200 years ago, refined sugar was a luxury so rare and expensive that only the rich could enjoy it, and only in small amounts. Since then, refined sugar has increasingly taken the place of other carbohydrates in the diet. Hello?
Hi, who's in here?
Oh,
TJ?
You're just talking yourself?
I'm just reading.
Ah,
Oh, I thought you were talking to someone.
Okay,
You're talking to someone.
okay.
Yeah,
It's
see,
just-
like, this one, it can't see you if you, like, speak here.